There's going to be a lot of debate on whether we need to replace our upper control arms or not after a 2-inch lift. We also have to add to the equation of what type of environment we are driving in. Obviously, if you're going to do some off-roading, you're going to need full articulation from your suspension components. But if you're doing city driving and hitting speed bumps here and there, then maybe not. Since my last video of lifting this truck 2 inches, I went back and lifted another 1 inch in the front because after driving around for a while, the front suspension components finally seated and I noticed the slight droop in the front. So the debate whether to get an aftermarket upper control arm was no longer a question, since my lift now is over 2 inches. That's what prompted me to start shopping around for an upper control arm. So coincidentally, a company named Max Speed Rods reached out to me to provide a pair of upper control arms for this installation. But before accepting them, I had to do my own research online on this company called Max Speed Rods. Found out they sponsor a few championship drift racers. They sell a lot of suspension components and turbos. I also watched other YouTubers give reviews noting these control arms are solid and are of great value. When the box arrived, I didn't bother opening it up. I kind of wanted to open it up in front of you guys just to see the box opening, see how it was packaged, and check out the product itself. Quick pack foam here. And here we have the, wow, it's pretty heavy, folks. I'm not kidding you guys. This is pretty heavy. Feels very sturdy. Look at the ball joint here. Okay, dust-proof sealed, polyurethane bushings. It's got 2 holes here for zerk fittings. Nice. It's even got the stud here for your ABS lines. Okay, wow. So far, so good. Their name printed on here too. It's not just a sticker, guys. Looks like it's been lasered on here or something. This feels very, very sturdy. Okay, let's set this aside. And here is the other one here. Same thing, very solid. Very, very solid feel. Okay, set this aside, and right here we have the zerk fittings with dust caps for the zerk fittings. Nice. Hopefully these will spin on the way we want to, because they have to be at a certain angle for us to be able to access them in the future if we're going to pump some grease in here. They can't be facing backwards, right? But sometimes we don't have a choice because it just tightens and tightens, and wherever it stops, it stops. So we're going to have to figure that part out, okay? We're going to go after the easy stuff first. We're going to remove this 10 millimeter that's holding onto this bracket that holds our lines here. Let's break it open. After we're done, we are going to lift this up here, and we're going to put this 10 millimeter back in here so we don't lose it. Next, I'm going to grab my pry tool and pop open these pins right here to remove my splash guard. It's a little in the way. I might need some full access to get my hands and tools in there later on for torquing, and also removing that nut that's holding our upper control arm in there. You could either take out the whole thing or just leave it hanging. What I normally do is put these lock pins back in so I don't lose them. Now you're going to look at your ball sack right here. Right here there's a nut, and you're going to have a special cotter pin that's holding this nut in. What you're going to want to do is, there's a long piece of the cotter pin and there's a short piece. On the short piece, it's going to grab around into this hole of your castle nut here. You're going to want to take this pin out of the hole of the castle nut, release it, and then pull your cotter pin out, and it should come out just like that. Pretty easy. Next, we're going to grab a 19 millimeter, and we're going to turn this counterclockwise to loosen up this nut off your ball sack. There you go. You don't need to take it off all the way. Just leave it right there. Next, we're going to go to this nut, and we're going to put a 19 millimeter on here, and we're going to try to find something to gain leverage. I'm using the handle of my floor jack here to help me out. Let's see if it'll grab. It grabs somewhat. Okay, it's loosening up. You don't want to loosen it all the way because you still want a little bit of preload for this to be able to pop up while you bang on this. We need this to separate, okay? So as long as there's some preload, this is gonna help you move this and separate it from your ball sack. Now we're gonna grab a hammer and pound on the metal flat surface right here. There, it's separated. Make sure you turn it counterclockwise. There you go. Out of the way. We're gonna grab a bungee cord here. Now, we're gonna try to remove the rest of this right here. We're gonna take off this nut, remove this nut, remove the washer. I'm gonna remove my battery, and in order to access a harness that's going to be in the way of us removing that top bolt for our upper control arm, I'm going to show you guys in a minute, but let's go ahead and do this first. So right besides the battery tray, you're going to have a 10mm right here that's holding this huge harness in. We are going to remove that. Now this harness is out of the way. I'm going to put this 10mm back in its slot right here, just so I don't lose it. I'm going to move this harness out of the way. I'm going to pull our bolt further and hold it right there. So while we're keeping this washer right here, we're going to pull the rest of the bolt out. Okay, you can do that from the top of the engine compartment. I'm doing it down here so I could show you guys what's going on here. Obviously, you can't bring this washer along with the bolt because it's going to hit your fender well right here. I was actually able to hold my upper control arm while pulling the bolt out, just so it would come out enough where I could just lay the upper control arm down without letting it drop. While we're here, I wanted to show you the comparison between the aftermarket one with this tubular steel right here, which is heavy. This is super lightweight, guys. If I flip this over, you're gonna see why. Your Lexus OEM upper control arms are hollowed out. And see how thin these walls are? This is your Lexus OEM upper control arm. Maybe it is a good thing that I switched them out. Now we're going to start by installing our Zerk fittings. Max Speed did provide us a goodie bag full of them and dust covers, so we're going to just grab one and test fit it first. Remember, these Zerk fittings right here is your inlet for all the grease that's going to go inside of your bushings, so you don't get any squeaks, okay, and they don't dry out. Same thing right here. We are going to take the Zerk fitting, we're going to put this cap right here, and we're going to, just like that, and we're going to start twisting them in clockwise. Make sure you don't cross thread it. Let's turn them in and see how far we can go. So after I hand tighten, and it's going to be pointing towards the engine, and that's not going to be good because we're not going to be able to access that in the future. So we want this thing to be pointing towards the outside of the vehicle. But we also know that a lot of the threads from all these Zerk fittings might be different. So let's go ahead and try the other two here. See which one fits better. This one is a lot better. At least right here, we are going to have another maybe quarter of a turn. So I'm going to use this one. So let's take this old one and let's try it on this side right here. And this one turns about the same thing, about right there. So once we get another quarter of a turn, it'll be about right there. And if we put it to the vehicle, and if we turn it, are we gonna have access to put our little nozzle head on there to be able to do some greasing, in which I think we do. So I'm gonna leave it right there without having to put any type of shims or bushings or gaskets in there. Okay. We're going to loosen this up and make sure we straighten this dust cover to align with it so it can turn with it when we tighten it. Okay, here, same thing with this one. We're going to take the 10 millimeter and hold this dust cap along with it, because it's not going to turn along with this, because you're going to want both of them to turn, and you're going to tighten this Zerk fitting and turn the dust cap along with it. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so this dust cap will go on here and close up from dust. Let's do the other side right here. Ooh, perfect. Very tight and snug. And there's the dust cap. Leave it open. Okay, perfect. So if you look at the ball sack dust cover here, take a flathead and pop this open, you're going to notice another Zerk fitting, okay? So don't forget about this one, okay? This is just a dust cap to cover it. Remember to make sure this line goes above your upper control arm. Line up the holes right here. So we're going to go towards the radiator, and we're going to move this boat far forward as much as possible in order to bring this upper control arm, the forward portion of it, in. We're going to guide this boat and try to weasel that boat into the hole of this top bushing here, and there we go. We got it in the hole. I'm going to go up to the engine compartment and push the rest of the boat in. Just going to keep pushing until it stops on its own. There you go, it stops. Now we're going to go back to the fender well. So it stopped because it hit this portion right here. It's not going in the hole. We're going to have to just guide it in now. There you go. Now I'm going to go back to the engine compartment and push the rest of it all the way in until it stops. Once it stops, I'm going to go ahead and put this washer here and put this nut. Now I'm going to take this nut off right here. I'm going to take the bungee cord off. Now we're going to put the rest of the suspension together here using Max Speed's nut. Only reason why we can't use the original OEM nut is because this is a castle nut, and it's supposed to have a cotter pin that goes right through the stud itself. This one doesn't have any holes in it for you to stick a cotter pin in, so that they did give us a nylon lock type of nut, so that should be that type of lock instead of a cotter pin. Okay, this is a 22 millimeter. Let's go ahead and tighten it in. You're going to hit this at 82 foot-pounds. Next, we're going to grab our penis pump right here, and we are going to jizz the shit out of these 3 Zerk fittings. So you don't want to do too much, but you don't want to do too little. What we're doing is we want to do enough in order to see some visible signs of grease coming out of any of the crevices. Okay, I bought Valvoline Synthetic Red Extreme Temperature. You guys can go on Amazon and just type in grease for ball joints, and a whole bunch of options will show up for you. I will send you guys a link of what I purchased and stuff like that below this video. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Very first one, I'm gonna go ahead and lock this in. Now I'm just gonna keep pumping, just pump. And while you're pumping, you're looking for evidence of your bushing squeezing out. See that? You see it poking out a little bit? That means you got enough in there. Let's take this off. We're gonna go ahead and wipe this clean and take this blue cap and cap it off. We're gonna start squeezing until we see this bushing start separating from the rest of the upper control arm. There you go, stop right there. Let's take it out. Now we're gonna do the same for the ball sack. We're gonna get a little flat screwdriver here, pop open the dust cap. You're gonna see a Zerk fitting in there. We're going to attach our fitting, lock it into place, and start pumping. So we're gonna pump until we see some grease coming out of the bushing itself. You see that? We're gonna clean that up, and that's enough. Next thing you're going to want to do, very important, is clean off every single red residue you see. The last thing you want is your wife coming home and smelling somebody else's red grease all over your bed sheets. So make sure you wipe all the evidence clean. Cap off all the Zerk fittings. Close up the cap. Next, we're going to put our bracket back on here. You're going to want to put this over the stud. Take this 10mm nut that Max Speed provided us, and we're going to hit this at 7-inch pounds. You guys can go ahead and just, you know, snug it up if you guys don't like doing stuff by the book. But I'd like to give you guys the option if you guys do decide to follow proper Lexus torque specs for whatever reason. Makes you sleep better at night. Now we're going to hit that nut right there at 85 foot-pounds. Grab out your torque wrench and a crow's foot, 19 millimeters. There we go. Make sure you put back your imitation arc splash guard. So I don't know if you guys could tell just by looking at the wheels and tires at this angle, but I totally have positive camber, which means I'm going to have to take it to the frame and wheel alignment shop tomorrow morning. Okay? Hope to see you guys at the next video. Peace.